Hi everyone. Do you wish to invest in Sri Lanka? What are the capabilities here? What is the best industry to choose? Stay with us. After the end of this program, you will find the true story behind Sri Lanka. Today our discussion is about why must you consider Sri Lanka for a joint venture for footwear. We have invited and cordially welcome Mr. Rangith Hettiarachchy, Director, Cleaner Production Center, former Chairman, Advisory Council Footwear and former Chairman, Ceylon National Chamber of Industries. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, when we are considering about the 21 industrial sectors in Sri Lanka, the footwear industry is the most leading industry in Sri Lanka. So, what do you think about the footwear industry in Sri Lanka, sir?
Footwear industry has so much of potential because footwear has already become very essential thing for people because barefoot people are becoming less and less with the development. So footwear has become more or less a basic requirement for everybody, but now it has become a fashion item just to showcase yourself, and for sports specialized footwear and for various sicknesses specialized footwear. So footwear has developed so many useful new products. So it has become a part of our life, part of human beings, and it is not an industry that will get distracted. For example, like Kodak cameras or whatever it is, or land phones. These are products that is disappearing from the world. But footwear is not facing a situation of that nature. It will never get distracted. There won't be any alternative also, but developments will be there to make you comfortable and fashionable. So there is a very good future for this industry.
Yeah. So now as the Industrial Development Board, we are focusing to develop our economy in an export oriented one. So how can we convert this local industry in footwear to export level?
Yes, because Sri Lanka is a small country, everybody knows the buying power of Sri Lanka and the requirements of Sri Lanka and various categories that we can sell in Sri Lanka. So it is limited. So essentially, any industry cannot survive with a small market. So definitely it has to go for export. But export has become more important today because Sri Lanka is having a very big requirement to earn more dollars because we have to import so many items to Sri Lanka, including petroleum and various other products we have to import. So we have to earn more dollars. So Sri Lanka's first priority is earn dollars. For that, I feel footwear is a very good industry which has a very big potential.
Yeah. Then sir, as an investor, why must investors select the footwear industry to invest in Sri Lanka?
Because Sri Lanka has a long history in footwear production also. From period of Britishers, we have commenced making footwear in Sri Lanka. So there's a generation, there's a huge experience of producing footwear in Sri Lanka. So now we have to currently change our requirements, change our production systems to suit the export market. That is the most important thing. So that can be done. So footwear can go for export. Domestic market is important, but domestic with the base foundation of the domestic market, we can go for export. So the chances are there. And The other reason is everybody knows with the pandemic, there was a big problem in the whole world faced a big problem because everything was produced, the basic requirements from chips to various things in China. So the whole supply chain, there was a big breakdown because we have put all the apples in one basket. So now world has realized that sourcing areas, new sourcing areas has to be developed. For that, in that manner, Sri Lanka is one of the best suitable countries because mainly our location. Because Sri Lanka, if you put it in a world map on a flat table, Sri Lanka more or less in the center of the world. From China, it's a 15 days sailing. From Sri Lanka to European countries, it's about 15 days sailing. So if we are catering to European market, we cannot find a better place than Sri Lanka. And the location is so good, especially for footwear, because most of the raw materials are coming from Far East. Japan, China, Taiwan, Malaysia, these are the countries where we can get raw material. In addition to that, we are very close to India. India is doing very well in footwear and very well in tannery industry. They are supplying very good leather. Because today the footwear, when you say footwear, it is mainly exporters are thinking about leather footwear, not any other footwear. Because European countries doesn't take any footwear with synthetic material, polyvinyl chloride, PVC upper material, PVC sole-in material. These are not considered environmentally friendly, and health-wise, these are not considered as the best. As such, Sri Lanka has an advantage on the location. In addition to that, Sri Lanka has a lot of other facilities because our forts, they are very efficient, and we have added a new fort in south. On top of that, the developments are taking place. Our ports are expanding, investors are coming, and they are thinking of Sri Lanka, Colombo port as a main hub, especially countries like India. They do a lot of exports through Sri Lankan port, Colombo. Then Bangladesh, they are even thinking of having a separate facility in our port for their export products. So it's a transit point, very good transit point, and from Sri Lanka, the efficiency has improved, the loading facilities and unloading facilities, even motor car industry in India, they are using Sri Lanka as a port to distribute their products to the whole world. So there is another advantage of that one. On top of that, footwear is an item everybody knows. There's a lot of human factors involved. Stitching. We have proved, Sri Lankans, we have proved in garments our capabilities of stitching. Garments are mainly depending on stitching, quality of stitching. We have proved to the whole world that we are market leaders. We can make it for any brand, and we are capable. Our young labor, they can be trained very fast, and they follow, and they religiously follow quality standards. So we have a good background to improve the footwear industry. In addition to that one, footwear requires the labor, because there are so many things that can be done from the machine, but labor involvement is very important. So Sri Lanka that way have the advantage. We have a young population, we have a population willing to work in these factory conditions. With that one, because earlier footwear industry shifted from European countries mainly because of the labor. It moved to Far East, Korea, Taiwan, Japan, because of the labor. Now Vietnam is becoming another footwear sector because main reason is labor. So Sri Lanka also, we have that requirement. On top of that, we have so many other advantages where I mentioned earlier, where the other countries doesn't have. So footwear, we can definitely go, and we can see a big change in the world now. European countries, especially Italy, Germany, France, now they are moving to footwear industry. But they don't do the whole shoe in one place, because that concept is going out from the present industrial scenario in the world, because you don't do whole finished product A to Z in one factory. For example, mobile phones. It is assembled in China, but China doesn't produce a single material or chips or anything for the mobile phone. It is all brought from other countries, but assembling is done. So footwear also, we can join the supply chain, world supply chain, and become a major supplier for European countries, and they will do the finishing part of the shoe. So footwear industry, I feel, in next decade, most of the footwear industry final production might shift to European countries. So Sri Lanka can become a supplier of components, because components supplying is very good, because there the conformities will be less. In addition to that one, when you are supplying components, all the development work is done by the buyer or the importer. So we don't have to do R&D, and they will do you the designing. They will select the colors suitable for the season, the shapes, the designs, material, everything, and they will be nominating the reliable suppliers for the same item with quality standards. So footwear industry supplying components from Sri Lanka, definitely there will be a big advantage.
Yes. Now, for an industry, I think raw material is the most important factor. So, in footwear industry, most of the raw materials are not available in Sri Lanka. So, why are you suggesting this industry as the best industry in Sri Lanka?
Because now without having the raw material, still you can develop industry. There are so many examples in the world, right? That I don't have to name it, because everybody knows the chocolate and various other products are made in certain European countries, but raw material is not from their country. So importing raw material with the improvement of the shipping and logistic facilities is not an issue. So getting raw material from other countries and doing some products in a different country has become the fashion now, because sailing time is very much less, because most of the raw material is coming from Far East. For Sri Lanka, it's about 15 days, and in Sri Lanka, for export, there are special facilities. You can import raw material and the machinery and the required equipment, everything duty free under TEEP scheme. That is temporary imports for processing for exports. Under that, any industry can import raw material without paying a single cent of duty, because it is given as a special concession through the Export Development Board, and that way the raw material is not an issue. Raw material only issue is actually